I think the first thing, just to say out loud to this group is that despite the changes that are happening in our environment, Dr. Johnson and I remain completely committed to the med school merger work, and not a thing has changed. It's an engine now that's moving forward rapidly, actually, at this point. So we're excited to be here and share an update. Did you want to add to that, Bob?
Well, thank you very much, Amy, for letting me add something to that.
You're welcome.
When the announcement came out from President Tate, there was everyone was asking me, what does this mean for the merger? Because I'm working with Amy to achieve the merger. In addition to that, the chancellorship of RBHS is very, very busy. Brian has developed a schedule that's incredible. So let me make clear that it's not going to slow anything down. The natural evolution of the school is that Amy is going to come and be dean of both schools. And right now, Amy has an office in my office, and she's there at least once a week. And as of January, she'll be there twice a week. And she's going to move into taking over some of the responsibilities, especially some of the things that the chancellor reviews that the dean does. I can't review my own actions. And so we've already set up a firewall for some of those actions. And so it's going to move forward. And the way we work together, I think it's going to be delightful. Also, we know that the search committee is going to make this a very short tenureship. I've been in my time, by 50 years of this institution, I've been an interim 4 times, and this is the 4th time. And 2 of those times preceded calamities. The first one was just before the UMD&J was put under receivership by the FBI and the U.S. Attorney. And the third one was just before the pandemic. And each of those times I had to stay a little bit longer. In fact, actually,
not this time. No calamities.
This time is not going to happen, and we're going to move. Amy?
Yeah, we're not going to have any calamities this time, and Bob's given me a timeline to make sure that we get the search done. So I put up, just to start, the guiding principles. And this time I'm not going to read the guiding principles, but this board knows that I have done that before. But I know there's some in the room that haven't seen these in the past, and so I thought it was important to share again. When we began this process, one of the first things we did at a retreat was to set a list of principles and how we would move forward as a group. This is the leadership team from both schools coming together and setting these guiding principles. We read them at every town hall, every summit, everything, to make sure that we were holding ourselves accountable. They've been very important throughout the process, and we continue to live by these guiding principles. So sharing them again.
One thing many people don't understand is how these 2 schools, New Jersey Medical School and Robert Johnson Medical School, could have been in the same university for 50 years and be substantially different. And it's always important for us to say that they were 2 separately accredited medical schools, and as separately accredited medical schools, they competed with each other. Although we were all part of UMD&J for 40 years, and we were all part of Rutgers for the last 10 years. So we competed for faculty, we competed for grants, we competed for students. As one school, all that has to go away. And as one school, the curriculum has to be the same. And so that's been a big job we've had to work on. Although the subject is the body, but still the curriculum, the way you teach it, is different. We have to have the same services for students. We have to have the same admissions process for students. We have to have the comparable amount of resources. And so as the Rutgers Medical School, we will be in 2 sites, Newark and New Brunswick, but everything else for students outside of maybe some small parts of the structure, physical structure, will be the same. There'll be 1 dean, 1 set of bylaws, and 1 set of operating principles.
So where are we in the process? This is our timeline, and the box in the middle that's highlighted in red is where that's not where we are now. We're in January or December of 25. We are preparing all of the necessary documents that need to be submitted to the LCME. We anticipate that the LCME documents the first draft will be completed sometime in late January, early February, so that we can start to get external review of those documents. This process actually takes an enormous amount of time. We'll have mock site visits And then we actually will have a real site visit from the LCME in January of 27. Expect to hear from the LCME in June of 27. That'll allow us to begin recruitment of the first class to the Rutgers School of Medicine, who will start in 2028. So we're a ways away. I think it's actually less than 300 days now until we have to submit our documents. So I do have a countdown clock on my phone that I keep track of. We're getting close and it's feeling real. Again, just to share with you, and I think some of you have seen this before, this slide actually has our mission, vision, and values and our strategic pillars. And the Rutgers School of Medicine, the leadership team, and the Strategic Planning Committee have come together to begin our strategic plan work. Now, our strategic plan actually won't be effective until June of 27, but the LCME has asked us to demonstrate how we work together across the campuses in advance of that. So we've identified certain objectives in each of our pillars that we're working on now so that we can show the LCME that we can work together across campuses and get stuff done. We've made incredible progress in this space. It's very exciting. And then the last thing I wanted to just mention as well is another huge accomplishment. There's a number of things that we could talk about, but this one's important, I think, just to say to this group as well. Last Thursday, we distributed to over 8,000 individuals across both campuses the Rutgers School of Medicine bylaws. That process to create those bylaws was led by faculty. It was a subcommittee of the Integration Advisory Committee. It was, I think, maybe 15 or 16 people. It was actually an equal number from each campus, and they met monthly. And the leadership team actually really met even more frequently to get those bylaws completed. We brought in consultants from the AAMC because our intention was to not refurbish our existing bylaws, but we're creating a new school. We wanted a new set of modernized bylaws that would inform how we move forward as a school. Those bylaws have been reviewed now by the faculty. We've presented at the Faculty Council at New Jersey Med School and shared them there, as well as the faculty meeting for Robert Wood Johnson Med School last night. At both schools, just to give you a sense of where we are in our journey, both schools have now officially voted in favor of extending the current leadership of all the standing committees in each medical school, because we're following our own bylaws right now, until the time of the accreditation. So we're not going to have another set of elections this coming year because they wouldn't start until September and their terms would be truncated because of the merger. So they're extending their term. So we're getting close. We're getting really close at this point. And we were excited to be able to share the bylaws broadly.
I want to spend some time talking about some of the special barriers we faced. And those of you who've been around for a long time know that the development of the medical school, the moving the medical school in 1969 from Hudson County to Essex County, the eminent domain taking of 96 and ultimately 56 acres in the city of Newark to build UMD&J was one of the principal reasons for the Newark Rebellion. That rebellion was ended with the development of what's called the Newark Accords. And the Newark Accords required that UMD&J increase jobs in the city of Newark, it increased education in the city of Newark, especially health education, and that we carried on healthcare in the University of within the Stanley Bergen Hospital and provide care to the people of the city of Newark. Over the years, there has been a tense relationship between the people of the community and the health community, initially UMD&J and eventually Rutgers. And every time we changed anything, there was always a concern that what we were going to do is close up our tents and move south to New Brunswick. And as we rolled out this idea of merging the two medical schools, one of the first things we heard was, you're going to leave the city. In fact, even last week, 2 weeks ago, someone said to me, you're not going to leave us, are you? And I said, well, I'm 79 years old, so eventually I'm going to leave, but I don't mean that. Sorry. But that was the spirit. And so with a lot of mistrust. And Amy and I were very well aware of that. And so one of the things we realized we had to do was spend a lot of time with the elected officials in Newark and Essex County, a lot of time with community groups, talking to them about what we were going to do. We knew that the word out in the street was going to be different than what we actually intended to do. So we had to make sure that we became the face of the integration, and we make sure that every politician called us whenever they wanted to get information, not anybody else. And that went on and on and on. There were some really tense moments when we had one meeting with the county executive and Senator Ruiz came in and attacked her. But it went on, and we've been doing this for 2.5 years. But I'm really proud to say that things have changed. About a month and a half ago, we had a groundbreaking for a new building that was going to go into one of the space where the interims were. And this is a University Hospital building. Rutgers is building it. And the hospital had the good sense to invite Julius Williams, who's a lawyer, who's one of the authors of the Newark Courts, to come and give a speech about the history of the place. And he said, for the first time, that we had accomplished all the things in the Newark Courts. We had increased jobs, we had improved the health of the city, and we had actually increased the number of minorities who were in medicine as a result of what we've done. That was terrific. And Amy and I sat there and we just said, that's great. Then our president came and spoke and talked about Newark as a Big Ten city. Newark is a Big Ten city with a Big Ten School of Public Health, Big Ten Law School, Big Ten Business School, and a Big Ten Medical School, and all the other schools in RBHS. And the audience cheered, and that same Senator Ruiz, who was one of our biggest critics, gave him a hug. That has actually significantly changed the way in which we are being responded to now when we go out the city. And I think that this is a very important point for us, because we need to move forward in doing this with the health community. And so we're now doing things more with University Hospital when we go to the community. We need to also do that with Rutgers Newark, and we visited the chancellor this week. And the more we present ourselves as an entity that is improving the city, Newark is going to be better because of things we're doing. And now people are believing us. And so that is really a remarkable achievement as a result of what we're doing here. And we think it's going to really be great for us in the future.
If I could just add, I think it really is remarkable. And we both acknowledge and recognize that it's precarious. And it's just as easy to lose that trust as it just in a snap of a finger. So we know that we need to keep the work up, keep the communication up, and we're committed to that work as well. Okay, some major accomplishments. It says you, Bob. Oh, no, wait, it says me and you, actually.
Yeah, I think you first, because
So-
I'm tired of speaking.
Yeah. It's the Bob Johnson history lesson. So we are moving towards comparability in our physical spaces. That's a big accomplishment. We know much of that work is moving forward now. We've had a significant improvement in support for our students. And I would particularly call out the concerns that we had shared with this group previously about financial aid. So I can't tell you for sure, because our independent student analysis, our survey is pending right now, but the students are filling it out. But we expect that we're going to have a much better feedback from the students about their experience with financial aid. And I will say, we continue to meet with that group every week to make sure that we don't take the foot off the gas, that we get this done the way we need to get it done. We're continually aligning our curriculum and our admissions policies. Those things have happened, they're settled, and they continue to evolve. And we uncover things that we didn't realize that need to be aligned. And so the education team's actually meeting every week as well. And then we've made great progress, as you saw, in pushing forward the administrative structures and the bylaws. Do you want to ask that?
No, but we're down to our last slide, so it's going. One of the things people ask me is what is the secret to doing this and doing it so that everyone is agreeing that it's going to go forward and we're getting along well with everyone? That's the reason. All of those,
You're pointing to me?
no.
Yeah.
Actually, it's Amy, because Amy's taught me into doing things I never thought I'd do. But anyway, but look at all the 17,000 visitors to our website, and multiple meetings, 450 to 500 individuals from across the faculty of the schools who have worked with us, and over again. I'm just going to read through the whole thing, but it really does take being out there, being present, putting yourself forward, and every week making sure that we talk about this and present this in a positive light, and it's really moving forward. Doesn't mean that it's going to always be easy peasy, but we are there to confront them. And as a matter of fact, one of the things we want to do is that when anyone has a negative reaction, we want to be there and be in front of them to talk to them about
And
what
understand it.
and understand it. And
Yeah.
then we need to understand what their issues are, and we need to talk through it. And we've been actually very successful in doing that. So
And that was our last.
that was our last slide.
Yeah.
Any questions? No questions? Let's go.
Yeah, President Tate.
First, I would like to thank you both for your presentation and the hard work you've done in Newark and in the medical school integration in general. Dr. Strom, thank you for your leadership as well. The thing you mentioned in my speeches ring hollow if people do not do the fertile work of building relationships on the ground. The reason the speech was accepted in that context and embraced is because of the efforts you all have made. It was an honor
Thank you.
to do it. And I was able to say what I said because I knew you had done those things. And so thank you very much. And I think Chancellor Smith-Jackson as well, we have a unique opportunity in Newark on a united front, along with our leaders in business and law, to really build out something special. I know this was about integration, but integration is about not leaving people behind.
That's right.
Right.
And the key, if we do this correctly, will result not only in a world-class medical enterprise in our partnership with RWJ Barnabas, but also a better and healthier city, and a city that's educated where social mobility will soar. And I'm deeply, deeply committed to that. And I want to thank you all because I know all of those, the last slide that you had, that's a lot of time.
Yeah.
That's a lot of hand-holding. That's a lot of work that's not technical. It's very much relational. And this is a relational business, this thing called medicine. It has science and technology, but people have to believe that you care about them. And you clearly have demonstrated that. So I want to commend you for that in this public body. I believe you will be in very good stead with that accreditation function, and we'll soar from there. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, President Tate. Any other questions or comments for Doctors Johnson and Murtha? Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you very
you.
much for all your hard
Bye-bye.
work and for being with us today. Now we have the privilege of a presentation from Chancellor Conway from our New Brunswick campus, where we're holding our meeting today. Give you a minute to get up there, but thank you again for being with us, and thank you for your presentation today. Over to you, Chancellor Conway.
Is it? Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, Chair Towers, President Tate, and members of the board. Thank you for the opportunity to share an update about Rutgers, New Brunswick, our trajectory. On the trajectory we're shaping, the impact we're driving, and the responsibilities we're embracing as a public flagship of the state of New Jersey. It's always an honor to speak with you and to bring you important information about where we're headed. So we meet at a moment when higher education is being asked to demonstrate its value more clearly than any point in recent history. Expectations are rising, resources are scrutinized, outcomes once measured over generations are now judged in real time. And across the nation, universities are navigating pressures that cut at the very core of their mission. Amid these dynamics, a persistent question echoes through policy, discussions, public debate, and even campus conversations. what must a university choose? Must we choose between being elite and being accessible? Between serving students and advancing research? Between academic excellence and broad opportunities? These questions frame the work that we do. And it's a series of, it's not either or for us, as though progress in one area must require expense in another, as though the only path forward is to narrow our ambitions, compromise our strengths, or accept that a great public university cannot fully live into all the dimensions of its mission at once. Yet, much like the broader paradox that faces our nation, these are false choices. Because the very conditions that make this era challenging also makes it profoundly full of possibilities. This is the frame in which I hope to begin today with my remarks, not with constraints that have long shaped the narrative around public higher education, but with conviction that a modern flagship must defy outdated binaries and chart a more ambitious, more integrated, more forward-looking course. At Rutgers, New Brunswick, that is exactly what we're doing. We're proving that these are false choices. We're demonstrating that access and excellence, research and service, ambition and inclusion can not only coexist, they strengthen each other. So I'd like to say a little bit about the story of our momentum here in New Brunswick. So we know across the country, rankings are treated as a scoreboard, a simple tally of winners and losers. But when viewed with the right lens, they offer something far more meaningful, a reflection of trajectory, of institutional resilience, and of whether a university is moving with intention and purpose. And our trajectory tells a compelling story. Over the last decade, Rutgers New Brunswick demonstrated steady, deliberate progress. But the last 4 years in particular mark a significant acceleration. During this period, we rose from the lower half of national public universities into the strong middle tier, and now have stabilized with the Big Ten within its central cluster. To put the scale of that movement in context, 4 years ago, Rutgers New Brunswick ranked 63 nationally. Today, we stand at 42. We also advanced among public universities from 19th to 16th during the same 4-year period. That is not incremental change. That is upward mobility on an institutional scale. But there's one metric that captures our impact more powerfully than any of the others. It's our ranking amongst the Big Ten institutions where we perform at or near the top in graduation rates relative to expectation. In other words, we significantly outperform predictive models based on student demographics. So what does that mean? It means we're not merely enrolling students, we're changing trajectories. We're taking the raw talent of New Jersey and beyond and ensuring that potential becomes achievement. This is the heart of our momentum and the clearest evidence of the value we deliver as a public flagship. In terms of our academic and research momentum, behind our rising rankings is substantive academic progress. Our research enterprise continues to advance. Our citation impact, which is a key indicator of research influence, climbed 10 paces to number 78, showing that Rutgers scholarship is cited more frequently than those of our peer institutions. Our bibliometric rankings rose similarly up 10 spots, underscoring stronger publication performance and scholarly reach. We also saw a notable increase in our research expenditures despite the challenges, growing from 289 million to 325 million, a $27 million increase. At the same time, we're strengthening the core of our academic mission. Our average faculty compensation has increased by over $4,000, and per student investment has also increased by over $4,000 per student. And the quality of our students have never been stronger. Our SAT profile rose 17 points in a single year, including a 13-point gain in reading and writing and math scores. These are clear evidence that Rutgers New Brunswick continues to attract and admit exceptional, well-prepared students. This is momentum. It's not just perception, but it's measurable performance about our impact. So this is what it means to reject false choices. We're not growing by lowering standards. We're growing because more high-achieving students see Rutgers, New Brunswick, as their destination of choice. They're choosing us, and we're honoring that choice with outcomes that matter. This year, we welcome more than 10,000 new students, our largest class ever, and the strongest academically, with the highest average SAT scores in Rutgers, New Brunswick's history. And it's also amongst the most diverse class, with 27% Pell Grant recipients, reflecting our commitment to broad access and upward mobility. And that commitment is showing results. We continue to lead the Big Ten in closing Pell and non-Pell graduation gap, which is a powerful testament to the social mobility commitment that the president talked about. Now, those two truths, academic strength and excellence, are not in competition. They're accelerating forces. When our students succeed, we succeed. And when we elevate their ambitions, they elevate the reputation of Rutgers in return. Now, I have shared the metrics demonstrating our academic strength, our research progress, and our investments in faculty and students. And let me now turn to more directly to the momentum within our research enterprise. Our research momentum is not simply a collection of metrics, it's a reflection of the kind of scholarship that moves beyond journals and laboratories into the real world. Research driven not only by discovery, but by purpose. Our research, as I said, is about not just discovery, but purpose. So let's consider our work, for example, in quantum science. Rutgers physicist Jacques Jacquelin, who is a Claude Lovelace Endowed Professor of Experimental Physics, and his team are pioneering new breakthroughs in quantum material that expand what is technologically possible. Their recent discovery of a new state of matter, one distinct from solids, liquids, and gas, or plasma, emerges at the interface of two toxic materials, and it represents a fundamental advance in how we understand and engineer the physical world. Our take on leadership in climate and clean energy research is very strong and apparent. Rutgers scientists have produced one of the most comprehensive maps to date to identify where solar development delivers the greatest climate benefits. Their work pinpoints the regions where each new megawatt of solar power yields the largest reductions in carbon emissions, providing policymakers and utilities and energy planners with practical, data-driven guidance. This is Rutgers scholarship shaping the real world. And our innovations are not just insightful, they're investable. We now count 71 startups, 930 active technologies, and more than 1,000 patents, expanding both innovation and New Jersey's economy. Let's consider, for example, the Queen's Carbon. This is a startup company which is producing zero carbon dioxide cement. They are backed by the US Department of Energy with a $14 million grant. And the company's core technology is about energy efficiency and looking at how this concrete can produce low emission CO2 gas. Pretty incredible. This is under the guidance of Professor Richard Ryman and with our student pictured here, Danielle Kopp. Another example, second example, is Steg AI. This is a young man, his patent is a winner of the Edison Patent Award for its groundbreaking AI cybersecurity watermarking technology. I had to look up what that meant. And what it means is that if you look at this picture, the left side and the right side, on the right side, there's a watermark that cannot be detected. However, if someone was to try to create a deep fake or try to intervene in terms of breakthrough cyber security, this tag that Eric has developed, which was part of his PhD project actually, now can be used to protect companies and big data and science ideas. So these are real companies that are coming out of our students' work and with the support of our faculty, of course. So let me talk lastly about our students. And students are my heart, and they reflect the future that we need. Our investments in our students pay off, as you just saw, the work that they do. And when we walk across our campus, we see the future scientists, future inventors, future leaders. So what does that look like when a university invests in a whole student, academically, personally, and professionally? It looks like more than 8 in 10 graduates securing employment 6 months after they've graduated. We're very proud of that outcome, but the outcomes don't tell the full story. The fuller story lies with our students who are becoming and now leading in ways that we are just inspired by every day. For example, our Bonner leaders contributing more than 6,000 hours of service this year, working alongside nonprofits and schools to strengthen local communities. Or our students who hosted the MARC conference, the largest student-run leadership event of its kind, featuring a TED-style speaker delivery with over 20 speakers who have made their mark on society. And in a historic achievement, the women's rowing team captured the Island Challenge Cup at the Henley Royal Regatta this year, Rutgers' first win in the program's 50-year history. These stories do not just reflect accomplishments, but transformation. When we talk about student success, we're talking about more than degrees. We're talking about belonging and wellness and purpose. And behind the scenes, we're redesigning systems that support those outcomes. And yes, President Tate, an integrated honors college that will expand in our enrollment. The new discovery neighborhoods, such as the best community and a network of living learning opportunities and environments for students. And as President Tate mentioned, there's staff that are behind our students' accomplishments. And I want to acknowledge one person in particular, that's Ann Whalen, who runs our Office of Distinguished Fellowships. Under Ann's leadership, our students receive the national recognitions that we hear about and are so proud of. And for the 14th year in a row, Rutgers, New Brunswick is named the top producer of Fulbrights, and to date, we have 57 Goldwater scholars. Last year, one of our students, Andrew Kraptovin, was awarded the Churchill Scholarship, and Rigo Salvateria became the third Beinecke Scholar in the university's history. Last year, Omar M. Abute became the university's 15th Truman Scholar, and this year was named the Rhodes Scholar, the first in over 25 years. I'd like to end by saying the work is still ahead. Momentum alone isn't enough. We must close the distance between where we stand and we aim to be, and the president has given us our marching orders. 3 years ago, we launched the Academic Master Plan to elevate Rutgers, New Brunswick, and I believe we have done that. The foundation is solid, and now it's time to build on that success. We need retention levels that match our ambitions. We need resources for students that define what a top-tier public university should be like. And we're acting directly on those needs, underscored by rankings, but telling more of a powerful story of how we transform lives. We will invest in our faculty and research. We will continue to lead in social mobility. We will continue to drive student success and amplify our reputation and ensure financial stability. So what the next chapter of Rutgers, New Brunswick will mean, and I want to leave you with a picture of what comes next. Looking ahead, I see New Brunswick becoming the destination of choice for generations of scholars, innovators, and civic leaders, students who will be first in their fields, whether they're first in their families or fifth-generation scholars. We're becoming a national engine of research that serves society, a model of how scale and quality can rise together. A university that proves, as our president says, opportunity lives. And at a moment when so many people are asking, is college still worth it? We stand with a clear answer, yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chancellor Conway. Does anyone have any comments or questions for the Chancellor? Wonderful. Seeing none. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. President.
So it's December. I arrived in July. Chancellor Conway embraced my arrival in the most collegial fashion. I had no idea everything she had accomplished as a leader until her tour, which I still believe you curated very well. And it was very, very impressive representation and ambassadorship of the campus. And today's presentation really highlights the hard work you all have done and accomplished. And you have created quite a platform for continued growth. And so I'm very, very excited to work with you and your team in that regard. And I just want to acknowledge in front of the Board of Governors how much I appreciate your leadership. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President Tate. We now have the privilege of welcoming Dr. Stephen Labuti to the Board of Governors. Dr. Labuti is the director of the Rutgers Cancer Institute in New Jersey and also Vice Chancellor for Cancer Programs at Rutgers Health. Good afternoon, Dr. Labuti, and welcome.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to the board for this invitation. It's been a couple of years since I've given the board an update on our cancer program, and I'm very excited to do so this afternoon. So the title of my update is Rutgers Cancer Institute, a resource to New Jersey and beyond. And I really think that we are beginning to hit our stride in making that impact, although the state of New Jersey is our principal focus, that we're making that impact nationally and internationally. But with New Jersey as our responsibility as one of only 73 National Cancer Institute designated cancer centers and one of only 54 comprehensive cancer centers in the country, we are the only one in the state of New Jersey and therefore have the responsibility to the National Cancer Institute to drive cancer innovation and access and to get into the communities within our state to bring them the benefits of an NCI designated. New Jersey is 9.5 million people. We're the most densely populated state in the U.S. We're the sixth most ethnically diverse, the sixth in cancer incidence. So cancer is a major problem for our state. 24% of New Jersey residents are foreign born, 10% of households fall below the national poverty line, and 10 to 23% of our residents have higher cancer rates than the national average in our high priority cancers. Our mission and vision is stated here. I'm not going to read all that's on that slide, but mainly to emphasize that we see our mission as driving new cancer discovery through cutting-edge research, in bringing access to cutting-edge, exceptional cancer care to all of the population of the state, regardless of their ability to pay, and to lower barriers to access for that population, and in driving cancer prevention and early screening and detection. That's a lot of responsibility, but our team embraces that challenge and looks to improve on those numbers in terms of both cancer incidence and cancer outcome in the state. We have a number of strategic goals and priorities. We go through a strategic planning process on 5-year cycles. And in January, we're about to launch our 2026-2030 strategic plan with goals of advancing scientific discovery and translation. Translation being key and important. It's one thing to answer new questions about cancer as a group of diseases or to make new discoveries about cancer vulnerability. But unless you translate that to new treatments for patients, you're really not capitalizing on that strength. And so translation is key. Integrate our research into clinical care to expand patient access and opportunities to enroll on cutting-edge clinical trials. Accelerate translation and investigator-led research. That is our Rutgers discoveries being translated to new therapies. New Jersey is the home to many pharmaceutical and biotechnology companies, and the ability for us to translate our own discoveries into commercializable products that can be brought to the betterment of patients with cancer is a major mission for us. And finally, to cultivate excellence and engagement through leadership and workforce development. We want to be developing and training the next generation of cancer investigators and cancer clinicians. At our last redesignation, an NCI designation is not a popularity contest. It's actually a very rigorous grant that one must recompete every 5 years. I've been here at Rutgers through 2 competitive renewals, one in 2018 and one in 2023. And I'm happy to report that at our last competitive renewal, we scored in the NCI's exceptional range, putting us among the top 10 NCI designated comprehensive cancer centers in the country in terms of our score. We are not going to rest on those laurels, and we're looking to improve and expand our impact nationally and hopefully drive that score even higher when we go back for our next competitive renewal in 2028. As I mentioned earlier, we have high priority cancers in the state of New Jersey. Some of them are the high priority cancers that we attack nationally, such as lung, breast, colorectal, and prostate. But we have particularly high rates of gynecologic cancers due mainly to HPV related cancer illnesses and melanoma. We are, as many of you know, a summertime beach state. The Jersey Shore is a major attractant not only for folks to live in New Jersey, but for folks to visit New Jersey. And our melanoma rates reflect the fact that we are observers of the sun, and therefore education and screening is real important around skin cancers. One of the programs at the Rutgers Cancer Institute that I'm most proud of is one that we started in 2017 as a partnership with the State Department of Health to increase screening of our populations in New Jersey. And we started cancer screening in 3 counties in New Jersey where we saw the highest incidence of our high priority cancers. But over the last 8 years, we've expanded the Screen NJ program's reach to all 21 counties in the state of New Jersey, and to now over 375 clinical and outreach partners. We've succeeded in tobacco cessation, mitigation, and education programs for over 51,000 New Jerseyans. We've helped navigate over 125,000 New Jersey residents to cancer screening programs. We've detected over 10,000 pre-malignant or early cancers, and have actually detected 517 cancers at a time when they can be easily treated and not result in advanced malignancies. This not only saves lives and saves the difficulties of navigating a more advanced cancer diagnosis, but this saves the economy. This saves money, not placing that burden at the end stage of disease, and keeps more New Jerseyans working if we can catch the diagnosis before it even occurs. We're also very proud of our education and training initiatives. These are just some examples of our education and training highlights in the past year in 2025. We've increased the number of training grants, joint educational and mentoring activities, not only across Rutgers and all of the schools and chancellor-led units, but with Princeton University, and I'll have more to say about that in a moment. And we've also increased the number of overall training grants. Our consortium with Princeton brings together the largest public research university in the state of New Jersey and the largest private research university. We've been a consortia cancer center with Princeton since 2009. And when the NCI speaks of its consortia program, they often use our consortia as their exemplar of what they hope could be achieved through these consortia designations. And we are very proud of the work that we have done with our Princeton colleagues and the number of Princeton members that we've added